Number 10. USS Gerald R. Ford is the lead ship of her class of United States Navy aircraft carriers. The ship is named after the 38th President of the United States, Gerald Ford, whose World War II naval service included combat duty aboard the light aircraft carrier Monterey in the Pacific Theater. Construction began on August 11, 2005, when Northrop Grumman held a ceremonial steel cut for a 15-ton plate that forms part of a side shell unit of the carrier. The keel of Gerald R. Ford was laid down on November 13, 2009. She was christened on November 9, 2013. Gerald R. Ford entered the fleet replacing the decommissioned USS Enterprise, which ended her 51 years of active service in December 2012. Originally scheduled for delivery in 2015, Gerald R. Ford was delivered to the Navy on May 31, 2017 and formally commissioned by President Donald Trump on July 22, 2017. She is expected to leave on her first deployment around 2022. As of 2017, she is the world's largest aircraft carrier, and the largest warship ever constructed in terms of displacement. Number 9. BARZAN is an ultra-large container ship. It is the first of a series of 6 18,802 container ships built in South Korea for United Arab Shipping Company. As of 2015, it stood among the largest container ships in the world. According to the builder, it has carbon emissions far lower than the Maersk E-class container ships. BARZAN was built by Hyundai Heavy Industries in Mokpo, South Korea in 2015. She has a deadweight of 199,744 tons, and gross tonnage of 195,636. It took the shipyard 6 months to build her, from steel cutting to launching. Classed under DNV-GL as the first ship ever to have gas-ready class notation, BARZAN has, according to the builder, the lowest per container level of carbon emissions. Her energy efficiency design index is quoted as almost 50% less than the International Maritime Organization limit set for 2025. Number 8. OOCL Hong Kong is the largest container ship ever built, and the third container ship to surpass the 20,000 20-foot equivalent unit threshold. She is also the first ship to surpass the 21,000 tow mark. She is the lead ship of the G-class, of which 5 other ships were built. She was built at the Samsung Heavy Industries, Geode Shipyard with yard number 2172 and was christened and delivered in May 2017. Only 2 months after the christening of the first ship to break the 20,000 tow barrier, the Mole Triumph. The 6 ships of the G-class were built within the same year at the same shipyard. Hong Kong has a capacity of 21,413 tows, which are arranged in 23 rows. She also carries 14,904 cubic meters of fuel. Machinery on deck includes 10 35-ton tension force electrically driven, double-drum mooring winches and 2 combined electrically driven anchor windlasses for raising and lowering the anchor and its 142 mm caliber chain. Power for onboard machinery is provided by 4 4,300 kilowatts generator sets and 2 bow thrusters. Hong Kong is powered by an inline 2-stroke, 11-cylinder MAN diesel and turbo G-Type 11G95Me C9 engine, which generates 83,656 horsepower, 62,382 kilowatts, of power at 79 RPM. This engine allows for a top speed of 21 knots, although her cruising speed is only 14.6 knots. Number 7. MS BERGE STAHL is a bulk carrier. Until the delivery of MS Vale Brazil in 2011, she was the longest and largest iron ore carrier in the world. She is registered in Douglas, Isle of Man. Before that, she was registered in Stavanger, Norway as well as in Monrovia, Liberia. An iron ore carrier, BERGE STAHL has a capacity of 364,767 tons deadweight. She was built in 1986 by Hyundai Heavy Industries. The vessel is 342.08 meters, 1,122 feet, long, had a beam, or width, of 63.5 meters, 208 feet, and a draft, or depth in the water, of 23 meters, 75 feet. Her MAN B&W 7L19C diesel engine is 9 meters, 30 feet, high, drives a single 9 meters, 30 feet, propeller, and puts out 27,610 horsepower. The ship has a top speed of 13.5 knots, and has a 9 meters, 30 feet, rudder. She is currently owned by the Singaporean-operated shipping company BERGE Bulk. Because of its massive size, BERGE STAHL could originally only tie up, fully loaded, at 2 ports in the world, hauling ore from the Terminal Marítimo de Ponte de Madeira in Brazil to the Europort near Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Even at these ports, passage must be timed to coincide with high tides to prevent the ship running aground. BERGE STAHL made this trip about 10 times each year, or a round trip about every 5 weeks. Number 6. VALEMAX ships are a fleet of very large ore carriers owned or chartered by the Brazilian mining company VALEMAX to carry iron ore from Brazil to European and Asian ports. With a capacity ranging from 380,000 to 400,000 tons deadweight, the vessels meet the Chinamax standard of ship measurements for limits on draft and beam. VALEMAX ships are the largest bulk carriers ever constructed, when measuring deadweight tonnage or length overall, and are amongst the longest ships of any type currently in service. The first VALEMAX vessel, VAL Brazil, was delivered in 2011. Initially, all 35 ships of the first series were expected to be in service by 2013, but the last ship was not delivered until September 2016. In late 2015 and early 2016, Chinese shipping companies ordered 30 more ships with deliveries starting in 2018. 3 additional vessels were ordered by a Japanese shipping company. This brings the total number of VALEMAX vessels in service, under construction or on order to 68. As of May 2019, there are a total of 61 VALEMAX vessels in service. Number 5. BERGE Emperor was a supertanker built in 1975, in Japan, by Mitsui. At 391.83 meters, 285.5 feet, she was one of the world's longest ships. She was launched on August 30, 1975. The ship was owned by BARZAN and Company but was sold to Masto BV in 1985, and renamed Emperor. The ship was scrapped at Kaohsiung, Taiwan, on March 30, 1986. Supertankers are the largest tankers, and the largest man-made mobile structures. They include very large crude carriers and with capacities over 250,000 dwt. These ships can transport 2 million barrels of oil, 318,000 metric tons. By way of comparison, the United Kingdom consumed about 1.6 million barrels of oil per day in 2009. ULCCs, commissioned in the 1970s, were the largest vessels ever built, but the longest ones have already been scrapped. By 2013 only a few ULCCs remain in service, none of which are more than 400 meters long. Because of their great size, supertankers often cannot enter port fully loaded. These ships can take on their cargo at offshore platforms and single-point moorings. On the other end of the journey, they often pump their cargo off to smaller tankers at designated lightering points off coast. Supertanker routes are typically long, requiring them to stay at sea for extended periods, often around 70 days at a time. Number 4. The 2 ships of the ESSO Atlantic class, ESSO Atlantic and ESSO Pacific, were 2 of only 7 ships to surpass 500,000 tons deadweight in maritime history. The ESSO Atlantic was launched and built in 1977 and owned by ESSO International Shipping Co. Limited, Nassau, Bahamas. When plying the sea, the vessels had a fully laden draft of 25.3 meters, 83 feet, rendering them unable to navigate the English Channel, the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal when loaded up to capacity. The ESSO Atlantic was decommissioned in 1990 and sold to Pakistani breakers in 2002. Number 3. The BATTILLUS-class supertankers was a class of supertanker ships built in France at the end of the 1970s. 4 such ships were built between 1976 and 1979, serving until the final one was scrapped in 2003. They were built in the Bassin Sea dock of the Chantiers de l'Atlantique shipyards at Saint-Nazaire, France. Measured by gross tonnage, these were, at the time, the largest ships of any type ever constructed. While being the largest ships ever built by gross tonnage until Pioneering Spirit, the 4 BATTILLUS-class ships were the second largest ever constructed when measuring deadweight tonnage or length overall, behind only the supertanker SEAWISE Giant, renamed 4 times, including NOC Nevis, which existed from 1979 to 2009. While there were minor differences between the 4 BATTILLUS-class ships, they all approached a gross tonnage of 275,000 tons, and 555,000 tons deadweight tonnage, and had a length overall of over 414 meters, 1,358 feet, longer than all but a few of the tallest skyscrapers in the world. The BATTILLUS-class depth of nearly 36 meters, 118 feet, from the main deck and a full load draft of 28.5 meters, 94 feet, are records for ships of any kind, being slightly greater than the 2 Globtech Tokyo-class ULCCs. Unlike SEAWISE Giant and most other ULCCs, the BATTILLUS-class vessels had twin screws, twin boilers of full size and power, and twin rudders. As a result, in an emergency they could more easily and safely be operated than with a single propeller and a single boiler. Number 2. SEAWISE Giant, later Happy Giant, Jar Viking, NOC Nevis, Apama, and Montana, was a ULCC supertanker that was the longest ship ever, built by Sumitomo Heavy Industries in Yokosuka, Kanagawa, Japan. She possessed the greatest deadweight tonnage ever recorded. Fully loaded, her displacement was 657,019 tons, 646,642 long tons, 724,239 short tons, the heaviest ship of any kind, and with a laden draft of 24.6 meters, 81 feet, she was incapable of navigating the English Channel, the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal. Overall, she is generally considered the largest ship ever built. She was sunk during the Iran-Iraq War, but was later salvaged and restored to service. She was last used as a floating storage and offloading unit moored off the coast of Qatar in the Persian Gulf at the Al Shaheen oil field. The vessel was sold to Indian shipbreakers, and renamed Montana for its final journey in December 2009. After clearing Indian customs she sailed to Alang, Gujarat, where she was beached for scrapping. Number 1. The final ship on our countdown and the largest ship to ever sail the world's oceans. Pioneering Spirit, previously named Peter Selt, is the world's largest commercial vessel, designed for the single-lift installation and removal of large oil and gas platforms and the installation of record-weight pipelines. The Pioneering Spirit is essentially 2 ships in one. Designed by Swiss-based Alzys Group, the 382 meters long, 124 meters wide vessel was built in South Korea by Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering at a cost of $2.6 billion and commenced offshore operations in August 2016. In June 2017, Pioneering Spirit commenced pipella for the first line of South Stream Transport B.V's dual 930-kilometer Turkish Stream pipeline in the Black Sea. Alzys has committed to building an even larger version of the same design, Alzys Amazing Grace, the delivery of which is planned for 2022. Thanks for joining us on the world's top 10 biggest ships ever. Don't forget to subscribe below and give us a big thumbs up.